Hey everybody, welcome back to Madtown Hobby. My name is Keith, and we've got kind of an interesting topic today. I like to cover a wide variety of TCGs. There are many out there. You can talk about Magic all day long. You can talk about Pokemon. You can talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! Those are the big three. Plenty of content out there for those. But we live in 2023, an age where there is seemingly a new TCG coming out every week. There were Kickstarters all through the last few years. A lot of those games came along and failed. Well, some of them succeeded. Some of them funded, made it to their first set, even made it to their second set, and have people playing the game, people finding the game in stores, actually in LGSs on shelves. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're a Kickstarter game, if you can get on an LGS shelf, you're most of the way there. But, what happens when things mess up a little bit? What happens when you have a dud set? I always find myself drawn to looking at the business side of how these games work. You can have a great idea, you can have a game that everybody loves, but as I personally saw dealing with Genesis Battle of Champions, if the company behind the scenes doesn't have their ducks in a row, your game isn't going to last. Your foundation isn't there. Something else will take it out. And, the business side of things fascinates me. And when you see a company make a wild move, I got to stop and I got to watch. I got to talk about it. So, on that subject, we're going to take a look at what Grand Archive, the game from Weebs of the Shore, possibly one of the worst named companies around, what they did in a difficult situation recently. Now, hey, if you're interested in this kind of content, go ahead and subscribe. I love covering this stuff, and we'll keep making videos about it. Fractured Crown. This is the second set from the game Grand Archive. They made it onto TCG Player with their initial launch. They were a Kickstarter. They released another print run of their first set, Dawn of Ashes, that made it into LGS. Personally, in our area, there were quite a few people that sat down and enjoyed playing the game. Lots of Flesh and Blood players enjoy it. It's very much a head-to-head, sort of game, but with a little more flair of permanence on the board, spells, things more like Magic. So it's a good mix of those two. So a few weeks ago, they came out with their second set called Fractured Crown. Now this set is a supplemental, adding on to the first set. So it's a smaller set, fewer cards per pack, even fewer packs in the box. It's kind of a mini supplemental. But they did something interesting with this set, and here's a business decision. The first one we'll discuss. They have a type of card called a collector super rare. They decided that if you bought a case of Fractured Crown, there would be 16 or 18 boxes in the case, and you would be practically guaranteed a collector super rare in that case. One of your boxes would have it. So, turns out that the value on some of those CSRs, is what they're called, could be over $500. Some of the higher demand ones, you can grade them and they'll fetch you over $1,000, because there's enough investment, enough collectors in Grand Archive that these things are sought out. Well, they did what they should have expected, which is, people would buy cases. They would open boxes until they hit that collector super rare, and then they started dumping the rest of the case online, breaking map, because these weren't stores doing this. These were private collectors scooping up product, getting that collector super rare, and then just dumping the rest and flooding the market. So if we scroll down here, we can see they were pre-ordering, and then this box, which is an MSRP of $90 US, dropped down into the 40s online, well below their minimum advertised price setting. Why else did this happen? Well, business decision number 2. They decided that this supplemental was going to be a one and done print run. And this is important. I'm bringing this up because this will come back later. They printed this to the ground. There were shortages for the first set. Demand was bigger than they expected, and that's great. Good news. People were hunting for cards. So for this supplemental, they decided to go overboard, and they decided it was going to be a one and done print run. We're going to print, I forget the exact number of boxes, but triple or quadruple the amount of boxes, and we're going to have them all available day one here when this is released, and stores are going to eat it up. And they tried to let everyone know that these are it for this. So yes, there's a lot of extra boxes, but you'll need them for a while, hopefully. But that didn't matter. People bought cases again, pulled the CSR, dumped the rest of the boxes online. So you got them flooding the market. So immediately they had to go into triage and panic mode. They had game stores calling them, telling them that they were upset, trying to return boxes, and their quick in-the-minute decision was to basically release stores from the map agreement so that they could just also try to liquidate as fast as they could as LGSs. Now, a little bit of a short-sighted decision as far as the market goes, but when you're a new game, the LGS is if you did the work to get in those LGSs, you don't want to lose them. So that was their quick in the moment decision to try to drop map. I don't know if that really worked that well. I think the damage had already been done to drop those. The flood of product was already out there from the people cracking cases. And for the past couple weeks, ever since that happened, the mood has been sour. The prices on the Fractured Crown singles went to near zero. You could buy the super rares and the ultra rare, the super, the higher end cards that are playables. The previous set, the average card might have been $20 or $30 for those higher end cards. These were selling for $1, less than $1, some of them. So the market was in the tank. So what did they do? They had those decisions leading up to this point. If you're the company wanting to salvage your reputation in this moment, what do you do? Well, here's what they did. They announced a redemption program. So, specifically, the cards from the Fractured Crown set that were near worthless at this point, you can now take those cards, some of those cards, and go to their Ascent event. They've got that coming up here. I believe it's in Dallas. Houston. It's going to be in Houston. Let's read this page. At the next few Ascent events, we'll be hosting a trade-in event. Participants can trade in a playset of non-foil, this is an important part, non-foil Fractured Crown cards for an exclusive promo. 4 of each non-regalia, non-champion, 1 of each regalia. If you're familiar with how Grand Archive works, there's your deck which you play with, and the play set is 4 for most of those cards. And then you also have what's called a materials deck, where there's just 1 of each of those cards in there. So that's what they're referring to here, this regalia. 1 Right of Realm. And these are, let's see, hold on, sorry. So you collect this playset, you can turn it in for this promotional card. This was so spur of the moment. This is a brand new promo. They just released a little sketch of work in progress. They don't even have it finished, but they're gonna have that available. So if you turn in 1 playset of cards, you will receive 4 copies, a playset of the promo, or you can turn in 3 playsets of cards, and you get the playset of foil promos plus a super promo, this collector, I don't know what CPR would stand for, but a super promotional rare, collector promotional rare perhaps. So you think about it, the average player, when they're going to collect cards, they're going to open up, they're going to keep 1 playset for themselves, and they're going to dump the rest on the market. Well, this is I'm going to call it an ingenious plan, which I've never seen anybody pull off before, where they are going to soak up all these extra cards from the market and hold on to them. So they are actively manipulating the secondary market for these cards. So you can, they've got a Q&A here. I was like, wow, is this a recycling program? Are they just gonna trash these cards? What are they gonna do with these? Remember my point earlier that they said this was a one and done print run for this set. So if you just suck all those cards out of the market, isn't that counterproductive? Well, they said they are collecting them so that they can give them away as prizes. Again, ingenious. So you soak up supply out of the short-term market so you can beef up the price of singles and beef up demand for sealed product to make your stores happy. But then you don't just get rid of the cards, you keep them, repackage them for later on and give them away as prizes as a way to re-inject that supply back into the market. Wow. So there's a few other things that happen here. A few other questions and answers. They got to be at least moderately played. So if you've got heavy played or worse by now, and the thing's only been out 2 weeks, that'd be pretty crazy. Anyway, so this is fascinating to me. And you might wonder, well, okay, this was announced September 18th. The first event where you can do this trade-in is September 30th. So you've got 12 days to get your play sets together to be able to take these with you and turn these in person. Well, this take your guesses how this went with the community. And it was an immediate response. And there is a market Discord for Grand Archive, and one of the users, Super Mitch, I believe was his name, posted this graphic because, they're following along with this. These super rares, the higher end of these cards that people would need, he was tracking the prices, and you can see an immediate drastic increase. I know I caught wind of this because on my TCG Player account, I had some Grand Archive, some of these super rares listed, and I saw them all sell within 10 minutes. And I went over to to the Discord, caught wind of all this, and was glued to the screen watching all these updates happen. Bedivere, Woodland Overseer went from $1.75 to the last sold being $29.99. 1,600% increase in price. Blanche, $1.25 to $19.99. Incarnate Majesty, $2 to $19.99. Incredible increase in these. This is just a crazy shot in the arm of the secondary market. I'm trying to be, neutral on this. I've personally had friends express disappointment because they were hoping to still get more cards at these super cheap basement prices that Fractured Crown was. And then I've got other people like me who sell these cards and were very happy with this news, as well as store owners who have dead product on the shelf and singles that they bought from players for trade-ins, assuming, there would be a market for this on release, and then it turned out there wasn't. And now they've got a second win. They're happy about this. So again, fascinating business decision. If you're interested in the Grand Archive market, there is, again, like a Discord, like I said. Go find that. Join up. You can buy and sell on there as well if you don't do TCG Player. And yeah, fascinating stuff. So tell me your opinion. Give me a comment. Let me know. Do you think this was a good move? Do you think this is just like short-sighted of them? Would you like to see other companies do this sort of thing and manipulate the secondary market directly? I can see this easily turning into a very controversial thing if they do something like this that puts the market the wrong way. I guess that depends on, your perspective as a player, as an observer in this game, and if you want to buy these cards cheap. So great stuff. Thanks for hanging out. We'll keep following this and hopefully put out some more Grand Archive content in the future. Thanks.